Good morning, CNG 132. Welcome back to the start of week 9. With our week, this discussions went to a great direction. Good job in discovering new things about UAC, about Cisco, and Talkers Plus. Very, very good discussions this week. Keep it up for 2 more weeks. Actually, 1 more week because the topics do change in week 15. Let's go down to week 19. We do vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, and then business continuity for chapter 14. When we go into vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, we look at what types of softwares are out there available for discovering what ports may be open, what computers may have vulnerable ports. We also learn that the difference between vulnerability assessment, which is inside facing, and penetration testing, which is outside in. We also cover that the vulnerability assessments are rather inexpensive, while the penetration testing is more expensive because it requires a lot more work, usually third parties, to do that. In chapter 14, business continuity, we take a look at what different level of sites are categorized as cold sites, warm sites, and ready to go site. Definitely look at those. As we move closer to the end of the book, it's more a culmination of everything we've learned, bringing it together and showing you how all the pieces fit together as a unit in security fundamentals. Let's see what we got going this week that's special. Security policy. Put up the outline of it this morning, so make sure you do read through the security policy assignment. It's a Word doc. It lists what I went over last week in a quick discussion. Has to be at least 2 pages long. Don't copy paste. Go to, still the best one I think out there is sans.org. Has the most security policies to look at. Pick 2 and simply write your security policy for your own business using your own wording, and kind of pick out what highlights to you. If you do want to do, I always say the clean desk policy because I think that's pretty important. Say you want to do this clean desk security policy, on the desk when you leave there should only be this, and this. Make sure you outline that. Look at what makes up the security policy. They have a scope, who it applies to, what the security policy is supposed to be in the outline. And we'll see. And make sure you proofread that also. Do not copy paste. It is plagiarism. Plagiarism is illegal, and will definitely have repercussions against you. So make sure you use your own wording. It's not too hard to. If you look at the template, mimic the formatting style. So when they say scope, make sure the scope's big and clear and easy to read. We go to sans.org now. Oops. Why am I finding it that quick? So here we can look at any sort of security policies, general ones. Acceptable use policy, another huge one, outlining how your electronic hardware devices will be used or should be used. And remember, looking at through the reading, there's policies, guidelines, and standards. Make sure you go through there and kind of pay special attention to that, because you can use that wording in your security policy also to help give it more formal reading as guidelines are just meant to be followed. Procedures are what should be followed, then policy, what is followed. And this one, remember, kind of look at the template, overview, purpose, scope, the policy itself, and then examples of the policy, policy compliant, if it has any sort of related policy, and then if you use any vocabulary that is unique to the course, make sure you define that in your terms and definition. And then, of course, if you have a revision, keep track of that, because that's always, do your best to pretend that this is a real policy taking place at your place of business. So definitely go out to SANS.org and look for that security policy. What else do we have this week? We have the lab for digital forensics. Make sure you get that in. Once again, lab 14.2. That's a huge lab. At least put aside 2 hours of your time to do this lab. I don't think it'll take 2 hours, but just in case you have some issues, make sure you have that 2 hours time. Remember that lab itself is worth 20% of your grade, so do your best on it. And I believe that's it. The next focus for next week, or preparation for next week, is the test and final exam. Once again, the final exam is just 50, I think it's 55 questions, and you get a little bit more time. I didn't mark it on there, but I think you get 70 minutes. Pretty sure you get 70 minutes. And then test 4 is 35 minutes, 35 questions again. And I believe that's it. As of today, I'll start combing through the grades, making sure that things match in MindTap to what they are in D2L. If you have any sort of grade from a lab that you're missing a document file, make sure to get that document file to me. I believe most of the stuff are still open. Yeah, so you should be able to turn in everything. There's a chapter 10 came in. So make sure if you do get a 50% on a grade that says you're missing the document file, make sure to get that in and submit it to me. Those are highly important. And I believe that's it for this week. Have a good week. I will keep you up to date with any changes. And let's see, grading should start probably tomorrow afternoon. I'll get those in. But let me know if you have any questions. Good job so far. Good job.